In today's video, we'll be creating bioluminescent skin using emissive primitives, geometry shells, and the IRAY skin shader.
Hi, I'm Palmy. Welcome back to my channel where I help you to master Daz Studio. Now, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any cool videos that are going to help you on your journey. Having said that, let's get back to the tutorial right now.
Welcome to this tutorial regarding how to create bioluminescent skin in Daz Studio. Now, first of all, before we begin this tutorial, I want to say thank you to Jordan Brancato. If I've butchered your name, sorry about that, but due to my weird accent that I have, I always butcher people's names. So Jordan, thank you very much for your question. You actually gave this question in one of the YouTube community posts that I did. You asked, can we create bioluminescent skin? And I said, you know what? Excellent question. Can we do it? And actually we can do it. So we're going to do that today. So Jordan, thank you very much for your question. And let's get on with the tutorial right now. So starting off the bat straight away, the first thing you'll realize is when you have a character, whether it's Genesis 8 male or female, the skin tone of the character, the actual translucency of the character, the skin tone here, does matter regarding the kind of effect you'll have. So the kind of lighter skin tone is really good for this bioluminescent skin that we're going to learn right now. But if you use like a darker skin tone, then it does get a bit more, it doesn't look as good basically. So I mean, you can play around with that. I've played around with that. So that is why I'm doing it with a light skin tone character here in this tutorial. So let's begin. So the first thing we need to do is we need to bioluminescent skin. The way it works is, I'm sure you've seen these Animal Planet programs and things like that, and you see these creatures, jellyfish especially. The way it works is they actually have light coming from within. So it's not actually where emissive skin, the light's actually coming off the skin. We want the light going in the skin. So what we're going to literally do is put a light in the skin. And the way we're going to do that is create a primitive. And the type of primitive does matter, because if you have a look at our bodies, if you have a look at the shape, it's pretty cylindrical. So we're going to choose a cylinder. Cylinder is probably the best, because what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to put a cylinder in each kind of specific area of the body. So in this case, I'm going to start with the torso because it's the longest, is the easiest, and a cylinder in the torso here. So I'm going to go to create, and we're going to do create new primitive, and we're going to come back to the torus here in a bit. I'm going to choose cylinder. Now I probably should change these settings, but I'm not going to change it because I'm lazy. These are the settings that I did from a previous tutorial like way back, so I'm going to leave these, but it doesn't really matter what you do. Just make sure the size of the cylinder fits inside the torso here. It doesn't have to be this. Obviously this is really big and I have to resize it, so I'm going to click accept, and I'm going to resize it right now. So I'm going to scale it down in the scene tab, in the cylinder. I've just selected, I'm just going to scale it down because I want it to fit inside the body here. Let's translate it up. Okay. And what I need to do is change the actual X and Z scale so I can get it in there. So let's just move this in here. It's still pointing out a bit, so the Z scale probably needs to go back in a bit more, and probably the X as well, just to give it a bit more around there. Just see what that looks like actually. It's a bit oblong actually. A bit stretched, wanting a bit rounder. There we go. Okay. So obviously it doesn't need to fill the whole torso. It just needs to fill like the majority of it. So it doesn't need to be there. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, good. So the next thing you have to do, I highly recommend you actually rename these. So as I'm going along, I will rename these. And this is going to take quite a long time to do. So what I will do as well, I will do like the first 2 or 3 of these, kind of show you how to do it, and then I'm gonna like fast forward it. Not yet. I will fast forward the kind of video and I'll do everything, so you don't have to wait like an hour for it or anything like that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to rename this. I'm just gonna call it torso. So nice, the torso cylinder. Okay, and what I need to do as well, one thing you need to remember is if you want your character to this thing, when we make it a primitive, when we make it an emissive, what we need to do is we need to make sure it's parented to the nearest bone. Okay, otherwise it won't move with the character. So if you're going to pose your character in a specific pose, at the moment it's at the normal A pose that the Genesis 8 characters have. If you were to pose it and we didn't parent this to the nearest bone, this wouldn't move with your character. So we got to parent it. So I'm just going to expand this. Actually, the easiest way to do this is click on my arrow here and choose the nearest bone. Now the one that I find that works the best for the torso is this one here, upper abdomen, this one here. So all I'm going to do now is click on this and drag it right on top of this. And there you go. Now it's parented. You'll see it's moved into position as well. And we're just going to check to make sure it's okay. We can still move it. I mean, we can still move it up and down. So we can still move that up and down. It's just parented, or kind of like parenting to that bone. So when we move this character, his chest or his torso moves, it will move with it. Very important. Make sure you remember that. Cool. Okay. So let's have a look. That's good. Now we need to turn off the IRAY preview because we need to actually light this emissive up as well. So let me just turn on the preview. Let's wait for that to kick in. And while we're waiting for that to kick in, what I'm going to do is go to the surfaces here and go to the editor. Make sure the torso, which is this cylinder here, is this, this primitive cylinder is highlighted here. I'm going to go to presets, shaders, IRAY, and then emissive, which is here somewhere. There it is. Double click that, and that's going to make it emissive. Obviously we can't see anything yet because it's not bright enough. So let me just go back to the editor. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually turn off the lights. So we don't want any other lights apart from what's going to be inside this character. So we need to go to my render settings here, tab, environment, and where it says environment mode, I don't want dome and scene, I just want scene only. So when we do scene only, what that means is only the lights that are in the scene are allowed. So that means basically spotlights, viewpoint lights, and any emissives are the only things that will work when we do scene only mode. You'll see that straight away. So you can see it now. So you can see it now. It's kind of doing the very, very weak bioluminescent skin there. So in the surfaces tab, torso, we're going to go down to where it says emissive, emission color. Here it is. Temperature, you can choose what temperature you want, Kelvin temperature. So obviously if you go more to the left, it's more of a warmer color. It starts going like orangey and then red. And in the middle is like white, 6500 Kelvin. And if you go towards the right, it starts getting more bluer. So it goes, so that's the way. It's up to you what you want to choose. I just leave it at 6500 because we're going to actually use the emissive emission color here to select our color. So 6500. Now we need to choose the luminance, so the brightness. So what I normally do is use the 1000, this one here, 1000 version. So it's like we could use lower numbers for these, lower values. We don't have to write like ridiculously high values. It just makes it easier, and you'll see it's going to go very bright. So that's far too bright. I'm going to bring that down to around about, well, I'll try 100. Let's try 200. Now we can play around with these values. You can play around with these values. You don't have to be perfect. Okay, so there we go. Now at the moment we've got the kind of like bioluminescence thing going on here. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to add one more to the face. So let me add one more to the face, and then I'll show you how we do the really cool effect of making it look like it is bioluminescent, so to speak. This is the very basics here. So let me just come out of this. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to put one in his face. So again, I'm going to do the same thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the torso here. I'm just going to copy this one. I want to duplicate it, so I want to make sure this is selected. I'm going to go to edit, duplicate, and then the node. Node means this here. I just want to duplicate this node here. Okay, there it is, torso 2. Now obviously it's not called torso 2. I'm going to call it it's going to let me do it. Let me do it. There we go. I'm going to call it face because it's going to be in his face, and I want to parent it to his face. So I'm going to click on his face here. Sorry, his head, the head bone. So I'm going to parent it to that. So I want to find it first of all. Here it is, and just drag it up and then drag it there. Okay. So straight away we can see it's far too big. So I need to resize that. So let's resize that. We can use a scale to scale it down. And I just want to see, turn this around, I just want to see how big this is. Okay, down a bit more. Okay, So one thing you can take into consideration is if you can have a look at the body, the thickness here. So if I place this more towards like here to his eyes, like this primitive here to his eyes, more of the kind of emission effect will be here. If I place it further back in the middle, then it'll be more like even. The effect will be more even inside it because of volume inside. There's actual volume inside this, inside the character, inside the figures. So it kind of does behave like real skin. So it's up to you what you want to do. And I'll show you a very cool, unique trick towards the end of this tutorial. So make sure you stay towards the end of the tutorial for that. But for now, that looks good. So let us do an IRAY preview. I may have to change the actual emission. It might be too high actually for the face. So let's go to, while it's doing that, I'm going to click on surfaces while the face emissive is cylinder, sorry, is active. And that looks okay. Just double check. Okay, so you're probably wondering what this thing here is. This actual here is something wrong with the hair. The way the hair is created, it's got this like mark here. What I'm going to do is just hide the hair for now. And just show you that is what the problem is. Right, so what we need to do now is create this really unique effect where we can make it look like it's inside the actual veins and things. So the way we do that is we need to create a geometry shell. So make sure our figure is selected here first. We go to create and then a new geometry shell. I'm not going to give it a name. You could give it a name if you want to, and just make sure parent to selected item is selected. It normally is. These are the default settings. I haven't changed anything, so just make sure you click accept there. And there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to come out of IRAY mode for a second. So we need to go into the surfaces of this and make it IRAY because for some reason when you create a geometry shell, it's not the shader used for it. The actual shell is not the IRAY shader, so we need to do that first. So let's go to surfaces while this shell is selected. Go to editor, click on the shell here, and I don't want to do that. Sorry about that. And we need to go to presets and IRAY. So shaders, IRAY. Cool. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to just remove the cutouts for the specific things we don't want to use. So things like the eyes, so the cornea, the ears will keep, although you probably won't see much. We'll keep the ears. We don't want any of the eyes, so all the eye stuff needs to go away. Eyes, the fingernails, the irises, and the lips. We could leave the lips. We don't want that inside of the mouth. Pupils, so we don't want the scleria, we don't want that, or the teeth, or the toenails. So I'm going to tell, basically what I'm doing is just removing the actual geometry shell for those particular surfaces. Okay, so let us go back now. Oops, sorry. Let's go back into torso. I want full capacity here. So for the rest, we actually want full opacity. So arms, ears, face. I'll keep the control pressed, by the way, and then we can select multiple surfaces. Is that it? Am I missing one? Sometimes I always end up missing one. I think that's okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry, the lips. There you go. Just put that away. Okay, cool. That's great. Let's remove that now so we can see everything. Right, so let's go to NVIDIA IRAY preview mode. Let's have a look at this. So you're probably wondering why is it gone all dark? It's because our geometry shell is covering everything. So obviously the light can't get through. We're going to resolve that very shortly now. So we need to use the cutout opacity. So we need to add a mask on. And that mask is going to be our veins actually. So I'm going to click on here. I'm going to go to browse. And here's the veins. I'm going to give you all these textures. You can use any of them you want. So these are the ones that I've created. And I think the best one that I used recently, I think it was this one here. Ambient occlusion. I think it might be this one. So let's try that one here. There we go. Okay. So all that's happened now is there's a cutout. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like. You can have a look here. I don't know if you can see that well because of the color, the base color here. If I made this base color darker, you can see what it looks like. That's all it is. It's just basically a cutout, and only that section is cut out. Those specific sections. So obviously I want the base color to be white. Let's go back to NVIDIA IRAY preview. Let's give that a second. There we go. Excellent. So let's do the face as well. So let's go to the face surface here. We're still at the geometry shell. We haven't changed anything yet. I'm going to go to the cutout opacity for that. I'm going to do the same thing. I think it's ambient occlusion. There we go. Okay. So, okay, you can see now that it's very faint because we've added those maps in and everything. So the next thing we need to do is actually go to our figure here. Click on our figure. And what we need to do is when you have a look at creatures that are bioluminescent, they have kind of like a jelly type consistency or a see-through kind of consistency, meaning they've got refraction. So we've got that option inside DAZSTUDIO. We've got refraction, which gives you that kind of watery effect, a kind of see-through effect. So we go to, with our character selected, we go to our surfaces. I'm just going to go like this. There we go. And we go to our genetic state male here, and then we click on skin. Skin here, and skin will highlight all the kind of main areas of the skin. We could do the lips as well, so I could highlight that as well actually. And what we need to do is find refraction. So somewhere here there will be refraction. There it is. Okay, refraction weight. Now as I increase this, what's going to happen? The skin is going to become more refracted. I become more thin, like glass, or like liquid, like water. And the more weight I add, the more the light will be allowed to come out, and it will give it this kind of like see-through effect. So I'll do it a little bit so you can see. So you can see the refraction taking place now. More of the light's getting out that we've put inside. And there we go. We can go all the way up to 1 if you wish to do so. Probably not the best thing to go to 1. I would have it somewhere. Well, you can choose up to you. It's up to you how you want it really. It's a case of what your preference is. So I'll probably leave it at 0.7. Now refraction index, that's fine. You can leave that at 1.5, which is like the standard. I'm going to choose like 1.33. If you do a Google search actually for refractive index, it tells you what each value means. So I think 1.5 is like water or something. Between 1.33 and 1.5 or 1.6 is like water or something. And then it starts going to like glass and some other stuff. So you can always Google that if you just type in refractive index and then it gives you the actual number. So I think this goes all the way up to 5, but you don't need to go up to 5. But it just gives you indication of what it is. So there we go. That is a refraction there. So we are getting there now. It looks pretty good. We've got our veins, we've got our bioluminescent skin, so to speak. And what we need to do now is we need to sort out these veins. Now, these veins, we can use the actual horizontal and vertical tiles to pick how much we want where we want the location of the veins to be. So if I go into here, just hold that, hide that, sorry. Genesis 8 male shell, click on that. So we go to the torso first. You may want to do this individually, so you don't want to do one tile setting for one particular part of the body. So the torso tile setting will be different to the face or the head, and then the arms and the legs will be different as well, just because of the way they are structured. So horizontal tiles, let's see what that does first. So I'm going to put a map value of 5 and see what that does to it. So it's made it more vertical. Okay, let's put that back to 1. Let me see what vertical tile does. Let's put a value in. I stretched it across. Okay. So I normally start off with like crazy values like 5, just to see what it looks like. That looks okay. Just bump up the horizontal tile. Again, this is this is up to you how you want your veins to look, for example. So it's too much actually. 5.3. Okay, I think that looks alright. So 5 for the horizontal, 3 for the vertical. You can really have a go at those settings yourself. It doesn't really matter what you choose, as long as it looks pretty decent. Now we can choose the color inside of here. So the color of this this actual bioluminescence skin, for example. Let's go back into our torso, our hidden abdomen upper. And there it is, torso. let's change the color with the emission color here. So we want a sort of reddish kind of color. Let's try this one, see what that does. So that's probably too red. Probably want less actually, so let's go up the scale a bit. That's too red as well. Let me try something like this, I think. There we go. Okay, so that's the kind of bioluminescent, the kind of color you have inside. I'm sure you've seen it in movies and everything. That's the kind of color we have that looks inside our body. So let's do the same. So what I'm going to do for that is I can copy this across to my custom colors here. I can just click on here and then drag it over to this palette. Let's copy it across. Click OK. Now I can go to my face. I do the same with that one. So go to my face. Do the same for that one. Cool. Now it looks like we have to bump up the actual luminance because this color is obviously taking away the white that we had before. It is capturing the white and not giving that much off. So we might have to boost this up a bit. So for the face, let's put 500 and see what that looks like. And then for the torso, we will do the same. So you'll have to really play around with these settings when you have a go at this method, Bioluminescence Skin, to get that. There we go. That's looking really good. So what I need to do is I need to do the same. So I need to create another cylinder primitive for the arm here. So this section of the arm here. Then I'm going to do another one and create it for this wrist here. I may do one for the hands. I don't think it needs it because I think this one here for the actual this kind of part of the wrist section here, I think it will go into there. So I'm going to do that now. It might take a while to do. I'm going to fast forward it now. And I'm going to do the same for the legs here. So this legs, I'll put one here and then I'll put another one here. And for the bottom part of the legs here, I'll put another one here, another one here. I may have to do one for the feet here. I'm not too sure. We'll see how that goes. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to fast forward this and do all that right now just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so there we are. That's all done. Took longer than I expected. I didn't do the hands because I didn't want to go crazy. I need to take too long maybe to do the hands. We might not need to do the hands or the feet. So let's have a look what that looks like. IRAY preview mode. Wait for that to kick in. And I guess I have to do the actual geometry shells for them as well. So let me just go and do that first. Geometry shell here. Let's go to the surfaces here. Let me just select those specific sections. So the arms. The ears, the face, torso, legs, lips, and we need to do, well, that's it really. I think that is it. Yep, we did the face and torso already. So let's go change the settings. So cutout opacity, we need to choose that vein. So the veins here somewhere. So these are your recent things in your scene that you can choose from. So the veins should be here. Ambient occlusion veins, there they are. Cool. Okay, and what we need to do now is we need to individually change the veins on the legs because they're not going to look right on the arms. So we're going to choose the legs separately, and I'm going to actually go to the horizontal tiles and play around with those. So I think you might need vertical actually. So let's try vertical first. Let's try 5. See what that looks like. No, they're starting to wrap around. That is not what I wanted, so it's going to be horizontal. So it might be a 2 or a 3. 3 maybe. That looks more natural maybe. Maybe a 5. More natural. Let's try vertical tile 2, see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks more natural. So it looks something you would expect. I'm going to do the same with the arms. So I'll go to the arms. And it's going to be similar, so we're going to go with the actual horizontal first. Let's try 3 for that, the arms. And no, because that's going the wrong way around. It's horizontal, so it's not the arm, it is the actual verticals. I always get confused with this. And okay, let's try 5 here. Just try a 2 here to cancel out the straightness. Let's try a 3. Oops, let's try 3 for the horizontal tiles. I think that looks okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. I like that. So although it took a fair bit of time to do that, it's definitely well worth it. So we could, if we really want to, add a bone to add a primitive cylinder, very small one, to the hands, or we could boost this up here for this. Let's try that actually, shall we? Let's try boosting this arm here. So this arm here, this primitive, let's try boosting the setting to, let's try 1000. Yeah, it's starting to light it a bit more. You might need to go a bit more, so let's double that, 2000. Let's go crazy. Yeah, it's starting to brighten up a bit more. So you could do that, or you could add a cylinder in there if you really wanted to. But that is pretty good. So that is Bioluminescence Skin. But we're not finished yet, because I don't think we do the refraction for that as well. Let me just have a look. Parameters, click on our main figure here, Translate Mail. Let's go to the surfaces. I think we did do the refraction for everything, didn't we? Yeah. And the lips as well. Just double check the refraction. There it is, yeah. So if I decrease the refraction, you'll see that it'll start to remove some of that. There you go. So that's another way to control the brightness, so to speak, of the skin, how much light we're letting out. So as I do more and more, all the way up to 1, if I went a bit crazy, you're going to see a lot of light coming out. Very bioluminescent indeed. One thing we can do to add a bit more realism to the veins is we can add a normal map to give it like a bump to it. And we could do that in the same. So we go to the geometry shell here. We can highlight all these, so it doesn't matter because it's just easier to do that way. And if you go to the normal map here, and then we can apply our normal map for that, which is veins 1 normal map here. So like I said, you'll be getting all of these in the link. So check out the link in the description for all these. They're all done. So the different ones, basically, some of them are different, so you can try them out. But the one I found the best was the original one that I made. So let's add the normal map to that. Okay, looking cool. Okay, so the really cool thing I want to show you now is we can get very creative. So what I want to do first is just want to just collapse all that because there's way too much stuff going on there. Don't want to get confused. Okay, so one cool thing we can do is I'm going to add another primitive. This time I'm going to add a torus. So let me just add the torus now. This works really good with torus, or you might get away with a cone. But really this works really well with the torus. This really cool effect. So I'm going to add that. I know it's really big because this is the one I used for the donut tutorial, but like I said, I'm going to resize it. So let me just do that now. Rotate it 90. And then I'm just going to scale it down. It's just quicker. Something like 10% would be big enough. Okay. And I'm just going to put it in the torso here. This actually might be okay. I might need to... I think I might need to make it smaller. Let's try 7%. There we go. Is that inside? We can see actually inside. So you can see that refraction. We can see where each of the cylinder primitives we put. There they are. There's the locations. So you can see everything. That's what these orange things are here. What I'm going to do with this torus, I'm going to put it as close to the edge of the skin as I can. So for this effect to be really prevalent in this scene. So, but I don't want it too much. I don't want it coming out of his skin. So I want it as close to the edge as possible, but not out of the skin. So you can see it's coming out of the skin now. I want it right at the edge, somewhere around about here should be fine. Excellent. Okay, so let me just put the NVIDIA IRAY back on. So we need to make this torus an emissive. So again, we do that by making sure it's selecting the scene tab. We're going to go to the surfaces. We're going to make sure it's selecting the editor tab as well. Then presets, shaders, and then we're going to make it emissive. So IRAY, so expand that IRAY option and emissive. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so let's go back to the surfaces editor here. 6500 please. Okay, now this is where things get interesting. What we can do now is we can start adding extra colors in. So with my torus, I'm going to change the emission color of that torus to something like, let's try green. So something very bright green. Okay, you can't see anything yet because the luminance is very low. So let me just turn out 2000s. And let me just bring this down a bit as well. It's far too high. So something like 1000 maybe. Maybe 2000. Sorry, maybe 500. Going the wrong direction. So now we can start adding like multiple colors. So we can start adding multiple colors, and you can see like it's here now. The actual bioluminescence, so to speak. It's this section here right now. Again, we could change that color if we wanted to, so we can go really crazy. And something that contrasts with orange, I think, is blue. So a blue kind of color. They are opposite colors on the scale. So let's see what that looks like. And we get this really cool blue with orange gives us like this purple. So you can see the two colors are mixing together, and we're getting this kind of like almost like an infrared thing going on here. That we see through the infrared kind of spectrum. We're getting that kind of color here, which is a really, really cool effect. And again, we can go back to the actual our main character right at the top, and we can go to the skin, make sure the lip's selected, and then we can change the refraction weight. So again, we can say, hey, I don't want 1, I want 0.5. Okay, and we can start to decrease how much of that we want to control it. So actually it looks pretty good at 1 actually. I'm going to leave that. So that is how you do bioluminescent skin. Yeah, so you can get very creative. You can add more, you can add another cylinder if you wanted, or you can change the color of this cylinder here and we can have a different color. But you can add other primitives on top of that, and you can get even more colors. You can literally go pretty crazy, and you get a really, really cool, unique effect. So that is how you do bioluminescent skin.
So there you have it. That is how you create bioluminescent skin inside Daz Studio. Jordan, thank you very much for your question indeed. Because of your question, I have leveled up my skills. That means you're going to level up your skills. That is the way this channel is intended to work. Now, don't forget to download the maps as well for the veins. Link in the description box down below for that as well. And also, if you want to support me, I have a Patreon account now. So link in the description box down below for that as well. If you want to support me, very much appreciated indeed. And the comment of the week, thank you very much, Samuel CK. You left a hashtag dream. I'll put it up here somewhere on the video. I'll leave that to the end of the video. So thank you very much for your comment indeed. Don't forget to leave a comment down below if you want to be featured in next week's video. And having said that, I'll see you in next week's video.